they split that up and get somebody that doesn't need to have all those skills?
2018 order. Does everyone please stand for the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda tonight, under new business, Boy Scout recognition. I would look for a motion to move that up, since we have so many nice young gentlemen here. Yes, it's right now, that would be all right.
I make a motion that we do on the new business number C for the Cub Scouts. Boy Scouts.
Cub Scouts.
Cub Scouts.
Cub Scouts.
Yeah. It is,
This-
it does say Boy Scouts, but it's Cub Scouts
Division there,
101, so.
Okay, motion's made.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. I put this on the agenda and I got in touch with Mr. Smith. Mr. Lohr, our DPW director, contacted me on Earth Day, letting me know what a nice job these boys did on the roads and picking up debris. So, I want to recognize them, and I have something for each of them. It says World's Best Cub Scout Troop. This is, this certificate is awarded to Foster Troop 101 in recognition of participating in cleaning the roads in Foster on Earth Day 2018. So I would like to thank you, and I would accept a motion to distribute these to these gentlemen.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen, for doing such a great job. Thank you. Nice job, guys. Thank you. 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 Yes. Oh, I very best. Very good. Thank you. I did that. Thank you. Always like to reward positive behavior. Yes. So now I will go to public comment. Thank you for letting us change our comments, and we have Robert. Oh, Peterson. Hi, Mr. Peterson.
I would like to speak with you about something on your future agenda.
Okay.
First of all, let me say I have a lot of sympathy for the council.
Thank you, we need it.
And I'll tell you what. Last financial town meeting, did you notice that you were bracketed in between two large cannons? One, you can't touch the school budget, and the other is you can't raise the taxes more, and so forth. And so what happens is that little narrow area that we have to deal with comes down to, can we afford another policeman? Can we protect by having 2 people on duty at all times? A big, now, this comes from a lot of things that you cannot control. You cannot control immigration policy, can you? You cannot control the cost of Medicaid in this state. It goes to the state legislature. They have to balance their budget. And then we have the costs that have been promised to us over the years. I remember when I first came to the state, I don't know, 69 or 70, they introduced the income tax. Remember, it was a temporary tax to bridge us over this? You remember that, any of you? What was it going to be for? It was going to be for education. It was going to lower our taxes, and we were going to distribute it all over the state. How long did that last? Then we had, what? The lottery. And what was the lottery going to be for? Education. Where's the lottery going now? The general fund. Okay, the state has to balance its budget, and it has balanced the budget off the backs of the cities and towns. And whether we like it or not, what starts in Washington comes to Providence, comes down, and we're stuck. Okay, so I have a lot of sympathy for you in that way. The other thing I want to speak to you about is, how do you lead volunteers? I have had a lot of experience in leading volunteers. I ran a church for 30 years. Everybody was a volunteer. And we met big budgets and so forth. And the simple point is that you can get more out of volunteers than you get out of paid people if you treat them right. Okay. Now, I fault the council, this council, but all the councils that I've been affiliated with in a sense. I've been in this town 15 years. I've been an associate member of Station 3 for 15 years. I was their secretary for 4 years. In 15 years, never one member of that council, any council, ever came to a meeting and asked how we were, or came and talked to any of the officers. That's not the way to deal with volunteers. We've had problems with Station 2 losing its accreditation as a 501(c) or something like that. That's the fault of councils not ignoring their reports, not being on board to see what happens. Now, I fault this council for a couple of little things. Number one, my wife is an associate member of the ambulance corps. And one of the things that she does is arrange for the annual meeting. Last year, she sent out invitations to all 5 members of the council. Only one had the courtesy to respond. I don't talk about attending. Maybe you should attend. Somebody should attend the annual meeting of one of your volunteer organizations. But only one responded. Neither did the state rep or the state senator. Maybe the state senator is busy with other things. Now, the other thing that comes down with regard to the council is that if you want to lay requirements on volunteer organizations, you cannot do it by fiat. You cannot order them. You've got to lead them. And sending out requirements without first preparing the way is a formula for failure. That's what I would say.
Thank you. moving on to the minutes of May 24th.
I make a motion, yeah, I'm doing that. I make a motion, we accept the, May 24th, 2018 minutes as presented.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to the minutes from June 7th.
I make a motion, we accept the June 7th, 2018 minutes as presented.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to payroll warrant number 47.
I make a motion, we pay payroll warrant number 47 an amount of $34,901.51.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to payroll warrant number 48.
I make a motion, we pay payroll warrant number 48 in the amount of $35,025.84.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to payroll warrant number 49.
Make a motion, we pay payroll warrant number 49 in the amount of $39,601.27.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to general warrant number 23.
Make a motion, we pay general warrant number 23 in the amount of $152,528.10.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I was remiss in mentioning that Mr. Rogers has been excused from tonight's meeting. Going on to old business, Wright's Auto Part. We had met last council meeting in regards to this. As you may recall, we did not issue a license for Wright's Auto Parts. We asked that they come back 60 days, and that was last week, or last council meeting. They did not attend. They requested that we put it on the agenda again tonight, but they were going to attend.
I'm here.
Oh, good, thank you.
Hello, I do apologize. There was a miscommunication with my lawyer, and he's supposed to be here tonight, but I don't think he's gonna show up, but I can answer some questions if I can try to resolve it.
Well, I think we'll start with Mr. Pointer, and if you could tell us how things are progressing, what you've seen so far.
Yes, Council President. I have stopped to see Mr. Ritchie over there. He has, I understand that you guys made some rules over there for him over there. He has proceeded along with the fencing. He's doing a very good job. It was an issue about boarding up the house, and he's got all that done and he painted the house, so that looks 100% better. He has been in the process of moving the cars from across the street over to his side. He's in the process of doing that. And I know that's a slow process because he has to make room for some vehicles he has over there, which is fine. So he's got the majority of the fence up. He has a little bit more to go. So I look at it as we have a lot of progress. It's slow progress sometimes, but I understand that there's a lot that has to be done with that. But they have progress and they are moving in the right direction.
Okay. Yes.
Are not some of the cars supposed to be removed because there's too many on the property?
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie could probably answer to that question. I
Yes.
said that he'd have to bring his documents to find out what he's gotten rid of, what he's on the schedule for to get rid of, and he's told me he was in the process of getting rid of some more cars down in the back. But he could probably better answer that question to you about how many he's gotten rid of and what he's in the process of getting rid of.
Do you know how many he's supposed to get rid of?
A
Is there a number?
A lot.
I know there's a lot.
His license is for, well, was for 500
The
vehicles.
stipulation was for 500 vehicles.
And that it does, I don't know that anybody's counted. We have seen.
No, I've
aerial
counted
pictures.
I've counted.
You've counted. So
Yes.
how many do you have?
We had 2,600 cars in the year since last time, and I discussed this with Rhett earlier before I was discussing with Mark, and we were trying to go back and forth to find a happy medium point somewhat, and we never got that resolved, so that's how we ended up But I
Well,
have,
the license, I think to resolve that, the license does say 500.
it's the stipulation, yes.
Yes, so I think that's where we start. So
Okay.
how many have you moved?
I have removed 226 cars as of today. I would have had another 8 cars moved, but only 1 truck came today.
And
and I-
what do you have slotted to move?
I've got to move probably another 1,000 at least. So it takes some time, like I explained to Mark. I mean, sometimes I have to move 9 or 10 cars to get 5 out. So that's the process. And then I'm trying to, we opened up the lanes for the fire marshal who has visited us also. So that's another thing too. I got to make sure I get the cars back where they belong so the lanes are accessible.
So I know nothing about this.
Okay.
If we're saying you need to remove cars, I assume you just go to the first row, take.
What I try to do is, it's beneficial for the business. There's cars that have been there for years that, we call them skeletons, which is really nothing else that can be sold off them. So we try to process them first, not to cut into the, the profitable cars that are there. So that's how we do it. And we just never rotated stock. That's why we've had so many cars there. It's an uphill battle, but it's coming, but it's a lot of work. I didn't realize it'd be as much work as it is, but it is. And we had some issues with cars across the street. We had about 75 cars, I'm down to 15 cars across the street. Like I explained to Mark, I got a big section where you just put a roll gate that I'm moving about another 60, 70 cars. I'm gonna put the trucks from, it's Newell Wright's property across the street. The other 15 trucks will go to my facility, and then I'll start breaking down the numbers again. I'm gonna be doing it as well as moving them, but that's how we discussed the cars that were left open, because I also visited by the state about the cars that were there also.
Do you have cars slotted to be moved out within the next week? Within
Oh,
the
yes,
next
I've got
month?
a pile, I showed Mark, I got about 60 cars piled. I just keep putting in a pile, then my other guy he takes from the pile, and then we process them. We have to, it's a tough process. We got cut wiring harnesses out of them, make sure there's no cores inside, which are valuable, and then we crush the roofs, and then we stack them on a trailer truck that comes by to pick them up. That's the process.
Do you have more questions, Jeff?
How long is it gonna take
Well,
to be in compliance with your existing license?
I mean, it's kind of a broad area in compliance. My lawyer's not here because last time I spoke to Rep Bishop, who was communicating with the council, he was saying that they're not gonna hold me at the 500 cars, but we're gonna try to find a number that is feasible for both parties. But right now, no one's found that. So my main thing is to crush as many cars as possible.
Red did speak to me about that, and
Yes.
you were supposed to send a letter to the
You are,
council.
yes, you're right. I had, my attorney never got back to Rhett on time, so that's when you didn't grant the
That
license the
was a
first
while
time.
ago.
Yes. That was a while ago.
2 years ago.
But that was what was said, what we communicated upon numbers. But that's not my main concern. My main concern is just to get as many cars out of the yard as possible. That's what we're working on. If I can have another hearing date, I can propose what I've got done, and then we could, I can't do 1,000 cars by next week,
If
but,
you were at a 2,600 count, you pulled a couple hundred cars out, maybe 8 more tomorrow,
yeah,
we're down to 2,500
Yeah.
cars.
yeah.
We're still supposed to be, the license says.
Yes,
So,
I understand that totally.
how long is it?
Well,
gonna
I've
take
been,
to
since
be
the
in
last,
compliance
was it
with
about
The
60?
license.
The last time that we met, I had 60 days, and then we missed the prior one, so 60, is it been about 90 days since the last time I've been in front of you? So 90 days, I did 225 cars. I lost 2 weeks of scrapping because one of my guys put a gas tank in the car that wasn't supposed to be put in, so they had an explosion at Sims Processing, so they wouldn't pick up cars for 2 weeks. So I would have had another 50 cars to propose to you. So that's all set now. I gotta review everything myself personally. So we're averaging about 250 cars every 60 days.
If I can for a second, a couple
Sure.
of things. Brett is not authorized to make agreements with your.
Oh, no, there was no agreement, there was no agreement made. He was just,
Get under the wrong impression that only the council can make agreements. And secondly, are you bringing in new cars, or are you bringing new cars new to your facility? So are you taking 30 out but bringing 15 in? Is that going on?
no, let's go back to Rhett first. I know we don't have the power to make decisions, but he brought that upon me, and he was communicating with the town council at the time, if I recall.
Right, but what I don't want you to do
Because
is
that's-
take that
you
as
see,
gospel
represent-
that you can do something.
No, there was no agreed, nothing was agreed, but it's just, I don't wanna say hearsay, but it was
And
truthful
actually,
things that
you
was seen
didn't-
said.
well, you didn't pursue it on your part. You needed to
Yes,
make something
I'm not
come.
blaming, no, don't listen, to I'm not blaming Rhett at all, there's nothing like that. We had 10 other cars come in from body shops that I do a barter system with. They drop cars off and then they pick them, they take parts for nothing. That's been straightened out. There's no more cars like that. I've been picking cars up at Copart and Exeter, but I've been bringing them, I've been towing them to Cumberland, George's Auto Salvage. I make extra money towing the cars. So if you see cars on a white UD flatbed with lights on the side, they go to the yard, stay on the truck, and I drive away with them. So I don't know if anybody had seen anything, maybe that's why you asked me the question.
Well, no, I'm just concerned.
Okay, no, I just wanted to bring that up to your
Yeah, no,
attention.
I'm concerned because you need to be removing cars, not
Yes,
bringing any.
it's not, if I kept bringing cars in, it's not gonna be, we're not gonna get nowhere. No,
Right.
that's why I'm glad Mark comes by. It's great. You can see what I'm doing, and it's just nice to have someone to come by and exactly see what I'm doing.
What about bringing crusher in, crushing them right on site?
Well, the problem with the crusher is, we couldn't get in the yard with the crusher before, but now we can.
Right,
So I can propose that to Sims, if that's possible.
right, because that'll go.
Because that'll speed the numbers up, you're correct,
Right on
yes.
site, right?
Yes.
You can get rid of a lot more with a crusher.
Yes, I can put, instead of putting 8 on the truck, I can probably put 12 to 15 when they're compacted.
So if we put you on the next agenda, can you have some information about?
Yes, of
crusher?
course, yes.
Cheryl, did you have any more questions?
No, I didn't know if he was applying for a license to me or not.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so now.
You are
I'd
not.
like to get it, but I'm sure I'm not in a position to.
I-
But I'd like, if I could ask the council, if we can conduct business. Mark had come and said we couldn't conduct any business because I didn't go to the hearing, but I won't be able to survive to pay the workers. I mean, I'm crushing cars, but I have to
You
sell,
don't have a license.
we have to sell parts.
Right, yeah. Mr. Savazio, you got again.
The town didn't create this problem, and it's not our problem. His problem is not our problem. I think that your attorney can speak to this. I'm gonna suggest you charge him a bond and give him a number. And if he hasn't met the number, then you keep the bond. This is how he or the previous owner got to 26 is not your problem. And that it's taken him so long, the best suggestion I've heard is there, crush him on site. It's not our job to worry about him making money. It's our job to get this thing to his license or take his license.
It's not yet their job, but they should enforce it from day one.
You don't speak to me, you speak to
Yeah.
him.
Well, you got the right to speak, so I like to say something. Yeah.
No,
No, no.
Mr. Spada was saying you cannot talk to him, you have to.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm fine.
So that's it. So you would like to know if you could do business?
Yes, because we were fine at the time, we didn't have the license, but we were able to conduct business. And then Mark had came in when I was on vacation and stated that we couldn't. We can crush and clean the yard up. But if that's the case, then,
Right.
So we grant him his license for 30 days, he comes back, he does nothing, we take it away.
Where are you?
And the chase is on. Once you hold the license, the chase is on.
I don't even, you guys, I don't want to hold the, I mean, you look at total control, that's what it comes down to.
How long has it been since?
Since he's been,
Probably
since,
April, he was here with his lawyer or something. wasn't it?
Is that when we did this 60 days?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was, that was. And previous to that, Rhett had been out there speaking to you.
Yes, yes, he has.
And that's been at least 2 years.
That was, yeah, probably by today, yes.
In my mind, that's the problem. It's taken 2 years and we had
Of
to go
course.
to these extremes to get compliance.
I understand.
Or to get you to get into
I,
compliance.
you guys have been very fair.
So.
So over the past, since we stopped it and said that you have to be, we're giving you 60 days
Yes.
to get in compliance, here we are, we're at
90.
And I thought,
90 plus later.
not to interrupt, I thought that we were gonna, last time was 60 days, and then we were gonna do another 60, we were on a 60-day trial, and to prove to you what I could do.
We wanted to see what you
Yes.
could do in 60
Yes.
days.
And then go from there.
Right,
And
and
I'm
fixing
not
the
sure
building and
if you want
starting a fence, and that's all, I mean, it's obviously relevant. But the biggest problem you have there is your account.
Yes, and I've talked to my attorney many a times, and maybe I should get another attorney, maybe, I really don't know, but I'd have to talk to him about it, and
Yeah, to me, and as I said, I know nothing about this, but 226 cars in 90 days, it's gonna take you 5 years to get, down to 500. So I'll take a motion if anybody wants one, but
I'll make a motion that we see what he can do in 30 days, come back in 30 days.
Do not issue the license, just hold it in advance. Give them 30 days to come back and see how many cars you get out.
Doesn't before a license got issued again, wouldn't we have to go to a public hearing for this? Because there were so many complaints from the people around.
Right, so I think you bring them back in a month and see what you can get done. I don't think you would give them the license.
Oh, okay, all right, I want to make sure.
Right, I would
license just.
Okay.
So the motion was made to
Come
reconvene
back.
with Mr. Wright, Mr. Ritchie,
yes.
in 30
30
days,
days.
see where you stand.
And then I'll
We
also,
could get a crusher.
that's what I was just gonna say, I will call Sims up and try to get a crusher in there.
So it has been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? See you in 30 days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Horn.
2 months.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Moving on, we have a request to use the town grounds for Foster Old Home Days.
I make a motion that we give them permission to use the town grounds on the 27th, 28th, and 29th for the whole day.
Discussion. I would like the council to please note that Friday evening will be available for the annual council awards, so be thinking. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Hopefully the weather will be good. We did the Boy Scouts. We're moving on. I did place on here recognition of Foster Ambulance Corps members, Sharon Potter and Kenneth Raisler. But we've been asked to postpone that to the next meeting. Mr. Raisler is out of town. Is out of town, so we're going to, he asked if he could have that tabled to the next meeting.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Move the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I skipped. I had it circled so I wouldn't skip it. And I skipped it. We have a public hearing for a hazard mitigation plan. You skipped me? I did skip you. I had you circled and everything, so I wasn't. Thank you so much. If I could just go through the hearing procedure. It has been advertised appropriately. It will be presented. We had copies of it available on, was it online?
Yes.
It was online. It was available at Town Hall. And I know that emails went out to people about it. So we will have it presented. People will be able to discuss and question, and then we will move from there.
My name is Carissa Mills, and I thank you all for your time tonight. I was hired about a year ago by the town to update their hazard mitigation plan, which was last done in 2005. By completing this exercise, the town qualifies to apply for FEMA grant funding to do projects such as increase the resiliency of the roads and tree trimming and help better prepare the town to become more resilient from hurricanes, flooding, high winds, and stuff like that. So about a year ago, we started with a committee, and currently, I think only 2 people are still with the town. They're on the committee, and then my committee is up here. But nonetheless, we have prevailed and gone through. I the housing mitigation plan. If you guys all want to take a chance to take a look at it. It talks about the different hazards that the committee has discussed, and it sort of ranked them on which they're most concerned about, and not surprisingly, they're concerned about high winds, mainly up here in Gloucester. So then after we talked about the different hazards, we talked about, well, what are the vulnerable infrastructure and resources and the community assets that they want to protect. And, you know, the flood-prone dirt roads that wash out, bridges, the various populations, businesses, schools, historic resources, all those assets. And then dry hydrants, communication towers, dams, certain municipal response facilities. So once we identified the hazards and the community assets, we looked at actions to help protect those community assets. We looked at actions that were proposed back in 2005, and we decided if they had been done or not, and if not, why not? And then we came up with new actions. The town has about 8 actions that they have proposed that they would like to complete within the next 5 years or so. And there's a implementation program, and each action has its own sheet that explains who is in charge of the action, if it aligns with the plan goals, if it's a high priority, medium, or low priority, why is this action important, the benefits, and how this action is going to get done, who's going to pay for it, the estimated costs, and then a timeline, is it short, medium, or long term. I found, just a personal side note, I found in working with the community that you guys pretty much have it together. I was impressed. You guys seem very self-sufficient, and like, yeah, we have floods, we have roads that wash out, but we got it covered, which is good. Which is why I really came up with about 8 actions that you felt were necessary to really work and improve the town's resilience. So the next step in the process is we've drafted it. It's available for public comment, and if anyone has comments, they can bring them up tonight, or they can email the town planner, and we can collect them all and incorporate them as needed into the plan, make updates. This is a rough draft. I was going through it today, and I was like, oh, I need to fix some of the formatting and stuff. But, so after we fix public comments and the council gives their blessing, not approval, but just a blessing saying, this is good enough to send it to the state, then we send this to the state EMA, and they review it. And the good thing is they've reviewed a lot of plans that I've written, and so they know what they're going to look like, and hopefully we have very few edits on that. After the state reviews it, it may or may not come back to the town with comments. And there may be a few comments that we can take care of, and then it's up to FEMA. Once FEMA takes a look at it, they'll put in their comments. Recently, they've been very quick and been like, oh yeah, it's a plan in Rhode Island, it should be good. And then it gets turned back around to the council, and that's when they adopt the plan. And you have to have an adopting resolution to adopt the plan. And again, the purpose of the plan is to make the community better prepared for the hazards, and these are mainly natural hazards we've talked about, and also to qualify you for some annual funding that FEMA puts out as well. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
The town website
Could you
says
state
that,
your name?
oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank
Karen Mueller, 50 South Gillingley Road. The town website says that written responses to the hazard mitigation plan are due by June 11th. Is there an extension on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had like, at a minimum, we like 2 weeks for people to, for the public and the council to review it. But I think it just sort of, if you still have comments, I know people at the town still want to review it, so yes, I'll talk to the planner and I'll make the website.
I think Jen, the planner, had put that there so she could compile the comments for tonight's meeting.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
But I think we can
Yeah,
extend that
certainly.
around, yeah. I mean, this is great, you know, this is okay as is. I don't anticipate any major changes. We're willing to consider all your questions and comments.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes.
I just have a question. Could you state your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcia Schreins.
My mom lives on Salzburg Road. I'm visiting.
Sorry.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, is it a whole separate process to apply for the FEMA grants after the council adopts the?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the council will adopt it, and actually, this summer, hopefully, FEMA will release another round of grant funding, pre-disaster mitigation grant funding. That can be used to improve your roads, your drainage areas, and stuff like that. And then, once the announcement has gone out, then the town, if they're interested, can apply. And you can't really be in the game unless you have a hazard mitigation plan that's been approved.
But once you have them approved, how likely are you to get the funding, assuming that there is funding to be applied for?
It depends on what project you're looking for. If you want to, install tornado shelters, it's really important for your town, but that doesn't align with the state's goals. It doesn't. It's gonna be a little bit harder, but you have to do a benefit cost analysis and stuff like that. So if it's in your hazard mitigation plan, you're definitely going to be considered.
Sure.
What's the turnaround once you get it done? In your fashion, you send it to the state, how long does it take?
That's a fun
Send it to
question.
FEMA.
It used to be about 6 months. Right now, with the state, I'm working on about a 1 month turnaround. FEMA used to take an additional 6 months, but FEMA, I have them down to about a couple weeks.
So we could conceivably be, might be able to avail ourselves of grants by the end of the summer.
Thank you.
Right.
I apologize that I did not get a chance to see it, but I just had
personally.
one question. Is one of those 8 points addressing the roads that have become dead ends because of bridges that are no longer usable or there?
That is not, if I may ask you, how do you see that as a threat or a hazard?
Well, it's, during one of our stories, I don't know how long ago, 4, 3, whole end of a road that is now a dead end, telephone poles came down, a lot of them, and those people were literally stuck for quite a period of time, so much so that water was being brought by hand across what used to be a drivable bridge, and now even that's gone.
So it was an access to those, it was an access issue for emergency services to those?
Right, I mean, they were cut off,
Okay.
basically. And, and there's another such road, where one end was, blocked off for whatever, trees, God forbid, forest fire or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Those people have no other way out.
Okay, yeah, I will, that was not addressed, but I will bring it up to the fire chief and, to the police chief and downstairs next week. And we'll see if we can, if that's something they want to include in here. And then if you can send the town planner the specific roads.
Oh, I'm sure they know.
Okay. Maybe word that?
Okay, I would send something.
Okay, thank you, just so we have it right. I don't want to.
Yes, if I happen to live on one of those roads that the bridge stop, it's a state bridge, and I'm wondering if that makes a difference. Because it's still
Yeah.
out. And the state has they just blocked it off, and now I only have one way in, one way out. And
It does make a difference. The way that we word it in this is we try to put actions that the town is responsible for. The town is not responsible for state roads and bridges, but the town can sure talk to DOT and encourage them and try to get, fix any situations because their residents are at stake. So that's up to the town to decide if they want to talk to DOT and maybe open that up again or make sure equipment can get through or something like that for us.
Oh, thank you.
How's it going? Brendan Barron, Middle Road. I noticed in the report a couple of times we refer to the local school as the emergency shelter.
Yes.
The building itself has not been designed structurally as an emergency shelter, and to my knowledge, there's no special provisions or anything in there to treat it as such. Is that something that will cause issues on the FEMA front? Is that something as a town that we should be looking to address?
It is, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's the town, it's their identified emergency shelter. It is not the Red Cross certified shelter.
Right.
The Red Cross shelter is gonna have its provisions for more long-term, sheltering capabilities, but you need to have a shelter identified, and that's what I was told. It's not gonna cause a problem. But when FEMA's looking at this, they're not gonna go, if it helps alleviate any worries, they're not gonna look at it with that sort of fine tooth comb. FEMA's gonna looking at it, and there's a checklist. Do you talk about this? Do you talk about this? Do you have actions? Do you say how much it's gonna cost? That's what they're looking at. They're not gonna say, oh, is it a Red Cross or emergencies? But I will make a note in there and just say that.
I think we should know, because I mean, as a structure, it's not a risk category 4 structure, for example.
Right.
Oh, yeah, risk category 1.5.
Yes, but it's always been to go to.
It has, I just want to be careful with the language that they're using. It's method as such, design and
Yes. I normally, when it makes plans, it is a Red Cross, but in the absence of it, I will make a note and say that it's not a Red Cross shelter. And it's appointed to
I think maybe we should chat to see if there's anything we should do on the school front to assist with the EMA part of it.
I could, actually, I've been meeting with Gloucester EMA, just to answer Brendan's question. With Gloucester EMA and Situate EMA, we actually just met this Tuesday about getting the regional high school as a tri-town, longer-term Red Cross approved shelter. And there's an issue with a generator that we're working on with that.
I'd love to include that as an action, if you can send that to.
Oh, sure.
To Jennifer, we can include that, and that way, when you go back and you do your plan in 5 years, you're already working on this action, so it's kind of, it looks good when you completed it.
Okay.
Or you will have completed it.
Did you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I did start to read it, it's long.
It
I
is.
did not finish by the time.
So the beginning part is,
interesting.
I did too, but I just was, then I started skipping it and reading.
you're being generous if you find it interesting. The beginning part is gonna talk about process, and it's gonna talk about the history of hurricanes. It's the same language I've used in a lot of plans, like why create what a hurricane is for Foster? It's the same hurricane that they had in Tiverton,
Oh, it is.
South Kingston.
You
Okay.
know that?
It's the same hurricane definition. The part that's going to be of interest to you, I think, is when you look at the mitigation measures. That's going to be, that's really the meat of it, and that's what everyone looks forward to talking about that easy. So if you have to choose when, how to spend your
That's where I
time.
skipped to.
Yeah, please, that's fine.
Thank you.
Hearing no further discussion, I'll close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this time, you would like us to give blessings to move forward, or do you want to wait until we get everything? I have not received anything from Jennifer. Did you, Mrs. Dillon?
No. I have not received anything from her as well. If it's okay with the council, I can come back another time after we do these edits if you want to read it again, or you can, in my action, you can just give it its blessing if the edits are done, or you can do it now and say, okay, given any specific edits.
We know she's going to send me some information to you, and that will be looked at and whether it should be put in or not.
Yes.
Will you let us know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I will definitely let you know. I just don't know if you want to read, all over again, changes.
So what's the pleasure of council? Do you want to give the blessing, or do you want to have them come back?
Or do you want to
July?
come back?
Do you want to come back?
Take a motion.
It's good for Rob.
No, please.
I'll take a motion.
I make a motion that we give it our blessing after we receive any changes from.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on. Thank you.
Thank you, that's supposed to expedite.
I'm looking now at the swearing in of a police officer. So, Chief Wright.
Thank you.
you know, we lost 3 officers of the departments, and this is the first of 3 replacements that I found. The gentleman's name is James Toller. He's a 1989 graduate of LaSalle Academy. After that, he served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps, and he's a veteran of the Persian Gulf War. Upon completing his service in the Marines, he became a Tiverton policeman, where he served for 2 years until transferring to the East Providence Police Department. While there, he served for 20 years, he attained the rank of detective. While there, he was a sniper on the SWAT team, and he was awarded the Gallantry Star for heroism in the line of duty. Upon his retirement from East Providence, he transferred to the Capitol Police, but his love of law enforcement, being on the road, and speaking with people and helping people, he wants to get back in the game, and he's applied to Foster. And his experience, strong values, and work ethic are going to be an asset to the police department. Council's permission, I humbly request that he's appointed to the job, and we'll swear him in.
Accept the motion to... Okay.
You see his name, because I did not
I
get it.
apologize. James Fuller.
Toller.
T-O-L-E-R.
They
Make
make
a
I
motion.
forgot there's no microphone up there.
Well, you're backwards to me, I will not catch it. I make a motion that James Toller be inducted or sworn in as a police officer in Boston.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Monday?
Oh, Monday, oh.
Is that what that's what I'm asking you?
Yeah, Monday's first day's Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Swear
okay.
it out? You can do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
now?
first time.
Do it now.
Oh, Monday, yes, that's his first.
Okay, James.
Just a weekend off. You get a weekend off, Michelle.
You, James Toller, solemnly swear that you will be true and faithful unto the town of Foster, and support the town charter, and that you will be true and faithful unto this state, and support the laws and constitution thereof, and the Constitution of the United States, and that you will well and truly execute the position of police officer for the term to which you have been appointed, or until another be engaged in your place, or until you legally be discharged therefrom, so help you God. Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Moving on, we have the additions and abatements. I would request that we have a motion to separate them. You have 2 separate, so you could make the motion. One is for motor vehicles and one is for real estate, so.
I make a motion that we approve the following, the abatement from the tax collector for the amount of $1,425.39.
Discussion?
The property, if it's the one we're talking about, actually belongs to.
It's a motor vehicle.
Motor vehicle, okay.
Okay.
And we're trying to archive too, that's the next one.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to the next abatement for real estate.
Make a motion, we approve the abatement from the tax collector. This is 2 separate amounts.
Yes.
So should we give it a total?
Total's on the second page.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay. 7733.23. Is that the correct amount? There's one here for 8808.99 cents. So which is it?
Are we
French Street, and you're doing the addition, so go ahead.
You can just indicate separately the amounts and then people will know.
The difference is, the problem is, it's, what you're seeing on the fact sheet, is it's picking up the penalty too. Once you make that abatement, the penalty will go away.
So it's a total of $7,903.12, if I did my math correctly.
So two principal values, right?
So the motion is to
Approve the
approve the abatement for $7,903.12. Do I have a second? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'd just like to say that we don't normally abate real estate property, ever, really. If it's, we're archiving our records prior to 2007, and in order to archive our records, we have to remove these two properties. And this is property that was sold during the town redeemed, not really redeemed, but now has tax title to, it went up for tax sale years ago. And it's not really valued to anyone else, so basically we're wiping off our own. That's it. Okay?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Moving on, we have on the next agenda item is the library request. I received an email from Karen Mueller asking to be put on the agenda. I did put her on the agenda, and yesterday I received an email, which you received a copy of today, with, tonight, right, with their request here. I did explain that we received our packet on Tuesday, and it would have been preferable to have this in our packet on Tuesday in order for us to digest everything, but it is here before you. The reasoning that we did receive it so late is that the board does not meet until Tuesday night, so they discussed it and then submitted this letter. Basically, they are asking, well, I guess, Mrs. Mueller, would you like to discuss it?
Would you like me to read a copy of the letter out loud? Or?
No, I think if you can just summarize it, because I think we're going to need to, well, you summarize it, and I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, libraries are a very, very valuable community resource. We're one of the legs of the chair in which a community stands. We are the heart and the living room of Foster. We give equal access to everyone in the town to information and entertainment, regardless of what group they're affiliated with or what their beliefs are. One of the reasons that people move to towns is, well, for Foster, we're charming, we're rural, we're lovely, but we also offer some nice amenities like an excellent library system and excellent schools. The library has been serving Foster actually since the inception of Foster. We have the oldest public lending library in Rhode Island. Theodore Foster started the first public library in Rhode Island when Foster broke off from Situate. And so we've been serving the community for a very long period of time. And we are in two incredibly charming old one-room schoolhouses, which we all love and hold dear, but which do not meet state requirements for public libraries. We are not handicap accessible. We do not have adequate parking. We do not have quiet study space. And since the basement at Tyler started flooding on a regular basis, we also do not even have programming space, much less accessible programming space. The state's actually been very generous with us. We've been looking at this problem for about 15 years. In the beginning, they would give us a 5-year waiver to try to come into compliance. They're at the point now where they're like, you've been in this process long enough, we'd really like to see a solution to the problem. So recently, they started giving us only a 1-year waiver with a very strong admonishment to move forward to address the problem. The board has been working very hard. A lot of research has gone into this. We actually have hired 2 building consultants to come in and look at the buildings that we have already to try to come up with a solution on the footprints that we're already on. And basically both of these said that you need to actually find a new site and build a new library. So that being said, we would like to dot all of our i's and cross all of our t's and come to the town council and start a dialogue with you. Because we are a valuable community resource and because we respect the wishes of our community, we're very sensitive to the fact that we have been in historic foster center. And if we purchase a piece of property somewhere else in Foster, we would be moving this community resource out of the center of town. We would also be taking a private piece of property off the tax rolls. So before we do that, we'd like to enter into a conversation with the town council to see if they would consider including the libraries in their feasibility study that they're going to be taking or doing for the police station project, to see if a library could be included somewhere within the nexus of town land in the center of Foster. We also would like to know if we could build on town land, if that would be a possibility of building on town land as part of that project, or if that project doesn't move forward in lieu of that project. Not that I don't want the project to move forward, I really want a new police station, but I'm keeping all my options open. And if none of those are anything the town council would like to consider, we do know that the town owns land throughout Foster, and we were hoping that they could make available to us a piece of property on which to build a library that would, actually the biggest problem for us is a public well, put a public well on it that would be someplace visible so that people could actually find us. And I don't remember the third thing right now, it's in the letter. Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. Well-traveled road, yeah, accessible, visible. So that's pretty much what the letter says. We're not expecting you to make a decision tonight. We're actually just trying to start, I know it was late, we're just trying to start a dialogue with the town, because I know in past meetings it's come up, why didn't you look at this piece of property, why didn't you look at that piece of property? We actually have. We've been looking for a long period of time, and we really want to assure the community that there's not any possibility that we haven't considered, and that we are really trying to be sensitive to Foster's needs.
Thank you. And
do you have any questions for me? I know it's sort of sudden, so actually we're all here. Most of the board is here. We could answer any questions you have.
there is quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, I had the privilege of getting the email, so I was able to read it all prior to tonight's meeting. There is quite a bit there, and I'm glad that you're not expecting an answer tonight.
No.
Because I think we do need some time to digest it. I think we need to see whether the legalities of allowing the library to build on town property. Also, being in touch with the police building committee to see whether or not this is something. We did awarded a survey to a company to look at that survey, and it was to include more than just where the police station would go, so that we would have that. So whether that would be included.
Okay.
So at this time, I think I would like to ask that we give the council time to digest this and look at it, and that we put it on the agenda, a future agenda item to review.
That would
when
be
we have more
wonderful.
answers.
Would you like to do that later in this month, or would that be in
I think maybe July or August to be able to.
Do you have to go to a financial town meeting to give away property?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I'm thinking that, so
Yeah.
that would be the legalities of it.
So,
So,
I don't would think, yeah. that's
but where we would go from here, not giving necessarily an answer, but where would we go from here, so.
Yeah. Right.
So.
I've been told previously that the town can't just give us land to build on, and I totally understand that. I just want to see if this is something that you would entertain working together towards, and then looking at some of those questions that are involved. I know that the town council cannot say, here, you can have this piece of land, you can build on it. It would have to go to the town financial meeting, and it's something that the entire community would have to vote on. And I feel very comfortable with that process.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So, I would suggest we put this aside and review it, come up with some of our own questions and concerns in a future agenda item. Okay. Any other council member have other suggestion? No? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. Would we be able to discuss this together with the attorney and find out about the legalities and stuff?
We can put it on an executive session.
Okay, I'd like to do that, Denise.
Okay.
So we can move forward.
have in your packet a communications technology presented from Chief Wright. So, no, but just looking at, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Looking at your communications and technology.
Yes, what prompted me to look at this was an interest about saving money, first of all, and the fact that Officer Mike Kitson really helped out the department a great deal with IT situations and losing them. And the current company we have, Genesis, it's a good company, but they're an expensive company. And for example, the backup system, we pay a bill of $592 a month. For if you had a call an IT person for some situation that we weren't able to fix, obviously because we're not computer people, we charge $168 an hour, and that could actually be from a remote access. It only take may take 5 or 6 minutes of work. Then, as I took over, I began to learn some things. For example, Foster Police Department's IMC system, which is everything from report writing to running data, is not compliant. If the state police have audited it, it will be shut down. That's also true of the live scan machine, which is how we fingerprint people, and that has to be compliant with the FBI. Now, if Genesis came in, yeah, they could fix this, but I don't know what that's going to cost, and they're trying to be careful of my budget and be responsible. So once we lost Mike, I reached out to a gentleman, this is Al Costa. He's the head of the IT division in North Providence, where I work, and they at one time also had Genesis. They switched over to another company called Envision, which not only would have helped the police department, they could do the town, they could do the school department as well. And the communications director of North Providence, Ralph Nahagan, interestingly enough, came from Foster. He was a dispatcher here. That's where he got his start. So, these aren't, salesmen trying to come in and sell us a used car. They're men that I've known for more than 20 years. And again, I'm just trying to come up with an idea, and I just wanted Al Costa just to make a presentation, just see what everybody thought. No further ado, it's Al Costa.
My name's Albert Costa. I'm the IT manager of North Providence Police. I've been there 20 years. Thanks for having me. What we discovered, Director Nahagan put the tonight too, that's another thing I wanted to mention. We had a prior engagement, but I pretty much have all the information. It was my idea to come out and help Chief Wright to get them all squared away. We utilized that company, Genesis, probably for 4 or 5 years. Like Chief Wright said, they're a good company. They do tend to overcharge for certain things, so we started going to different companies and to talk to them to see what they offer for services, and we came across this company, Envision, which is located in Pawtucket. They're very knowledgeable. They not only, when they fix things, they teach us how to fix the stuff. So it's very cost effective for the town of Providence to have a company like that, because now you don't have to call them back once an issue arises and they show us how to fix it. I do have schooling and all this stuff, but there are some things, there's all different levels of computer experience, networking, engineering, and so on. Getting to Foster PD's network, we list a lot of issues that weren't CJIS compliant, which obviously is based FBI guidelines that need to be met. Like Chief Wright said, we could potentially lose the option or the availability to run data. The live scan machine is a Windows XP operating system, which was sunsetted a long time ago. Actually, Windows 7 had a sunset date of this coming year, October of this year. So all our PCs, all our computers throughout the whole town are going to Windows 10. The servers, which Chief Wright has, is 2008, currently on 2016. She just requires us to change that. In the town of Providence, we're currently doing that, so we're 2 generations behind here in Foster. As far as security was good. Just a lot of upgrades to happen, so we're in compliance. We're just afraid that if the FBI ever came in and decided to audit Foster PD, that there may be a possibility that if things aren't upgraded, it won't be good. We'll be cited for a lot, plus it's a lot of money, so. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. We're talking more about on computers, but
I'm assuming that there's a cost with this.
there is a cost. I don't know what you board has for a budget to upgrade something. It's not, I want to be clear that it's not catastrophic as far as what's going on, but we were in a similar situation in Genesis back in the day, and we had to upgrade. And we had to upgrade a lot of stuff that they actually sold us stuff that was discontinued. So we ran into issues where we had to pay twice. We had a network put in 2009. Turns out 2012 everything was good anymore, and we had to upgrade, and we received the funding in 2014, so we got a new network system. But you're in a similar situation. So as far as the cost goes, I have to go through what we evaluated on the sheets that we received, what it would cost to fix things. I don't think it's going to cost that much due to the size of the network. I'd be lying to you if I gave you a dollar figure right now.
It just so happens Kelly's here tonight, and she's kind of our communications guru.
So your experience with Genesis is not our experience with Genesis as far as they sold us materials that were outdated or incorrect. That's not true. As far as the Genesis has been telling us that our server is outdated for years. So all the upgrades that you're telling us about, they've also told us, which is why we've been saving in the capital budget for about 3 years now to replace our server, if you recall. So we do know that it has to be updated. That is true. So do we upgrade our entire server now, or do we try to wait 2 years or a year to fully fund it, as we've been trying to do? So that's a question. He's not wrong. Like, there are a lot of outdated things. They put patches on things. They've done. That's why I'm here. He's right where some of the wiring has been replaced. They've done things as they've needed. Do I think we pay an extraordinary amount for our backup? I do think we do pay a lot of money for our backup. I mean, you guys pay about $5 change. We pay $700 for the town. So combined, we're paying about $1,200 for the storage. We have a tremendous amount of material on our server that people need to archive. But that's going to take man hours to approve, what you don't want, and we pay based on the amount we have, the amount of data we have. So if we could find a cheaper way to store our data that's legal and that's safe and protected, then I think we should definitely look into that. I agree in here where it states that it would be beneficial and cost saving to have a person. I've been saying that internally for a bit now, that if we could have a person who would serve us town-wide for IT, even if we shared that person with somebody, whatever case that might be. I mean, Mike Kitson, Officer Kitson, was for a huge help with the police station, and unfortunately, I'm the person who knew the most at the town hall, and what I know is just an embarrassment, really. So it would be helpful to have somebody who really knew how to maintain. It's not Genesis' fault that we have dust in our equipment. They don't come out here unless we call them specifically. They're not here to maintain our equipment. We call them, they come. That's how it works. So they're not maintaining our equipment. That is on us to do, which is difficult because we don't have that skill set, which, as you know, that's one of our problems, is that the people who aren't really necessarily skilled, for example, me, in this case, trying to do the best we can. And we've made it pretty far, and we're doing a pretty good job with it. As you said, none of this is catastrophic, so we've made it pretty far with very little. So that's a good thing. But I think it's getting more and more difficult to maintain our IT, and I totally agree that if we could find a way to have somebody 5 to 8 hours a week, or even like, say, 9 hours or 8 hours every other week, or whatever it might be, to maintain our equipment at both the town and school, just knowing, I mean, not the town and school, sorry, the town and the police department, because we do share that, so just knowing that we have somebody available is a big savings. And
I was
really
looking
big
for
help.
Mr. Mark. He moved.
Okay.
I didn't know whether you had somebody on school that has IT, that does your IT.
We do, I can dig into who we have doing.
It's Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I assume it's, his workshop looks like that, an IT guy, but.
Yeah. So we've thought about this a few times, that like ways to solve our problems and still get the service, and he's right. There are things that we could be updating periodically, but if we don't call them, they don't do it. They don't really, and we don't call them unless we have a problem. Something stops working, because that's one thing we don't do is maintain, because we just don't have the funding for it. So if we could find a cheaper way to store our data and back up, which would be great, we could use that funding to have somebody on staff, which would both be both beneficial for the town and, because without me there, I don't know who knows, I mean, there are people who don't even really use a computer over there, so to have anything go wrong is a big deal. So we have some issues, and I think it would be beneficial if we could figure out a way, and I just did the math, it's about 6,200 if we were to do 5 hours, so even say 8 hours or whatever we could come up with.
Sounds like we got a lot of.
We would get a lot of bang for that dollar, quite frankly.
There's one.
I think in here, the description of the wires and
There's
the
a lot of
area.
things. It's tough because as computers evolve, things change so much.
Right.
It's very difficult. But I wanted to say about, as far as Genesis, I have a great relationship with Genesis. The problem is that I was the original IT person in the town of Mount Providence. Now we have 7 people. So the more knowledge we gained, that's where we noticed, for example, Genesis would charge me and stuff because nobody knew how to do anything.
Well, we're in that situation.
Right.
It's
So that's not,
important to know
they're a
that.
good company, don't get me wrong, but they're expensive. And that's why the town of Providence and the mayor decided to build a communications division, which I'm on now. And now we've saved a lot of money for the town.
So if you look at our budget and what we spend in our expenditure reports, what we spend on backup versus their assistance and consulting, that's a much smaller portion than the backup. So if we could find a cheaper way to store our data, that, as I said, is effective and protected, then we could use that money. So I'm somewhat concerned, not concerned, but confused about, is this request to switch companies? Is this request to switch server, like update our server? Is this request to hire a person, you or a company? Or
Well, as far as a consulting company, my recommendation to the council would be to talk to Envision. Due to our experience, we've been dealing with them for 5 years. We're not overcharged, they're very helpful. Again, the difference between a lot of IT companies, and that's not talking bad on them, is that they take the time to show us how to fix it going forward.
Okay, again, I'm gonna say, who are we showing?
Oh, no, I'm saying.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah, right, and there's a reason they don't show people who have as much knowledge as I do,
Exactly.
how to do things, because inevitably I'm gonna mess it up, and it's really protected data, and it's a big fix when I mess up what they showed me, because I didn't really fully grasp it, and that's why they're so hesitant to show anybody in our
Right, in our division, we have a network administrator.
skills people.
Networking and code,
Right.
myself, I handle everything as far, I handle the police department from the network to the virtual servers and all that stuff. So. But I'd be willing to help. The council if you want me to, so.
Well, that's good. We wanted to say something.
Well, Kelly did touch on what I was going to say, if we could free up that money. So in order to do that, we've got to start the process. So my suggestion is that either the chief or someone looks into another company, and I believe my company has worked with Envision as well. I know the name, I know I went there. So I would suggest that we start moving forward with it.
So when you make.
I'll make a motion that, Chief, are you willing to take that on if I make a motion to do it?
Yes, absolutely, thank you.
I make a motion that we proceed through the chief into looking into another company. Envision or
For backup or there's two different things.
for backup, and then to go forward with DG Tech. Because if we free up the money, then maybe we can hire somebody to do that.
And is Envision certified for virtual service?
Yes.
Second.
Further discussion?
Is that right?
That's, Mrs. Ryder.
No, I just, you had mentioned that something about the computers sunset in September, and that's when they need to be updated? Is that what is that?
No, what that means is that they're no longer supported by Microsoft, so therefore they have patches. You know, like when you have a computer and it requires updates, that's to keep all the bad stuff, all viruses.
Right.
And all that stuff. So once they sunset that OS, you won't receive updates anymore, so hackers can into your computer. Not necessarily they're gonna do that, but they become vulnerable, that's why.
So, what I'm getting at, is this time sensitive? I mean, is that date
It's
a
time
big deal?
sensitive. No, you can still utilize that software.
Right,
The
but you're
problem
vulnerable.
is that you open up for a lot of things. If the FBI ever audited the police department, they'll shut it all that down.
OS is that?
It's Windows XP.
We can have a
Since
current.
then, we've had Windows Vista.
Oh,
Windows 7, now we're on
That's
Windows
one
10.
computer that we're referring to. Because
I
it's one
guess,
computer.
you know, didn't know if there's like a big monetary thing when that hits, or,
There's only, I think, one computer that,
That's the live scan.
that's a live scan,
Machine, right.
which, right. So they can look at
And the
that.
servers are.
And so if it's an issue with time constraints or something like that, we do have a consultant who can deal with that.
So would you like Chief to come back to us with what information he has, or just give him our blessing and
Give them our blessing and get going.
Those things, but depending on the cost and product, it may have.
Well, I'm thinking that it's gonna be a lot less than what,
Just the police department will own the backup system that we pay $592 for. I can have Carbine, which is what we use, the CGIS compliant. It's like $2,200 a year. So that's almost $5,000 a
And
year.
would we be able to piggyback onto that? Would the town be able to, I'm talking town and police, we have one server, multiple servers on that one server, so it's really $1,200 that we're saving, that we're spending
Yes,
on,
yeah.
so.
Initially, when I came out Chief Breda, we were just talking police, but the town, absolutely, you can do both.
So why don't we
I
just
don't think it's
go
effective to
forward?
have two systems. One for the, I don't think it's effective to have two systems, one for the town, one for the police, especially considering how currently we share.
that was my thought, my thinking.
So if you move forward and then come back to us with information.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. We had a motion, it was seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, moving on. A lot about police here. The police station building committee, the Chief Zeal, had been on that. I would like to take this time to have Chief Wright replace him, which I would assume would happen. But doesn't necessarily mean that it did. So I would take a motion to appoint Chief Wright to the police station building committee.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you. You already got two jobs.
Right. Keep sitting there, we'll see what else is coming
It might not be taken.
We have, the next item is National Grid poll petition for Luther Road. You have that in front of you. Mr. Lord did review it and gave his approval with the condition that the poles be at least 3 feet from the edge of the road. So, do I have a motion?
Do they specify how far off the road they are? This one's already here, so how far off the road is that?
I'm not sure.
They're all in alignment.
No, they're not.
No. And they're all in alignment.
So going forward, just, you want some,
3 feet off the road. So one is there at least 3 feet from the edge of the road so that it includes.
I make a motion that we accept their proposal for the poles on this road with the exception of the road.
Second. Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The last was a resignation letter from a zoning board member, and they have rescinded their resignation and would like to continue. So, moving on to future agenda items. We have several. We have the Henry Phillips Recreation Field update. We have the Cole Med program. We have the Route 101 Solar Farm presentation. We have the financial statements and standards, policy, and procedures for non-town entities receiving appropriations. We have Wright's Auto Park, which will be in 30 days. We have the Foster Ambulance recognition, and we have the Police Department communication and technology. Do we have anything else?
The Cole had the program today at the WB Community Health Meeting. They voted unanimously to institute a teledoctor, basically system for 50 cents per insured person through Blue Cross. So if you're going to proceed with the telemed program, then we have to somehow, which is different, you don't want both plans.
Right.
So the communities who were in this both indicated, by the way, that they were looking to get out. Yes, because they could not truly quantify their savings. So,
So is this something we should put on our next agenda?
you should probably put it on because I either have to, is this by June 28th? I'm gonna have to send something to the administrator of WB Community Health and let them know that you're gonna be voting on one plan or another, because you should not use both, it's a waste of money.
Okay, so we'll put it on the 28th, and you're going to be here.
Yeah, I will, so Cole Med or Blue Cross Blue Shield Telemed, okay? Do you have a plan? Sorry, remind me. All right,
Okay.
so we find out now.
I also have for executive session, for a future agenda item, the library request. Anything else for future agenda items? Hearing none, I will take a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session. Oh,
Yes.
Sorry. I move to go into executive closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42.42.4 for the reasons stated in Rhode Island General Laws 42.46-S for the discussion of personnel without funds according to Rhode Island General Laws 42.46-5A1 for discussion of considerations related to the acquisition or lease of real for discussion of work sessions regarding collective bargaining, negotiations, and litigation according to Rhode Island General Laws 42.46-5A2, and for hearings or discussions regarding regarding agreements filed pursuant to a collective bargaining agreement according to Rhode Island General Law 42.46-5A9.
I have a second.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we will go into an executive session. We'll take a short break. Thank you.